morning. So thank you for joining us, and it's really a pleasure to be here. So thank you very much for having me here. Today what I want to talk to you about is a big change that's going on in the industry, and a big change that's going on that I think is going to have a big impact on application developers in the future. So my name is Susie Wee. I'm the Vice President and CTO of DevNet, which is Cisco's developer program. So yes, Cisco has a developer program to expose APIs into all of our products. But specifically today, what I want to talk about is the rise of the network API. The network is becoming programmable. The network has APIs, and the network APIs can help application developers to create the future. So networking has come a long way, and I know that with all of you developers, the leading developers in the world being here at Codemotion, you guys have written the apps that have connected the world and created the experiences that we have today. But let's take a look at what's happened in the evolution of the network. So if you go back to about 1990, we had the emergence of the World Wide Web. Imagine the world before everything had a web page. And that's when network routers started flying off the shelf, and Cisco was there to create that networking equipment that helped the explosion of the World Wide Web. So web was key, and at that time, it was before the web and after the web, and emerged a whole new economy, a web economy, which fundamentally changed business. Next came the era of mobility, where networks were able to handle mobility, where developers were able to write apps that could go into the App Store. In 2008, there were 500 apps in the Apple App Store. Today, there's more than 2.2 million apps because of what all of you have done. That's been incredible growth, and what that gave us app developers is the ability to take your app and get it out to the world. That was amazing. And if we take a look now at the next transitioning that's happening is that the network is becoming programmable. The network has APIs, and this can help in many different ways, which I'll talk about today. Now, in addition to the networking evolving, Cisco's portfolio has evolved as well. So some of you may wonder, why is Cisco here? In addition to our networking products and the APIs and the programmability of the network itself, there's also a number of areas in which we work in collaboration, wireless access points that's giving you more intelligence for your applications, as well as the Internet of Things. Imagine that you have vending machines spread throughout subway stations around the world. Those are networked. You can write applications for those vending machines, and you need the network for that. So if we take a look, applications and APIs are not just helping the few who are working with technology. Right now, more than 4.5 billion people in the world are connected to mobile phones and to the web. And that means that all of the applications and the APIs that you use are impacting and transforming lives around the world, not just of the select and the rich, but of everybody. And that's the responsibility that we carry together. And if we look at what's the base of this, we're all responsible together for the experiences that we're giving to people. And this comes together through applications, through devices, and through the cloud. But underlying this is a network and a secure fabric that connects everything together. And what we're talking about is the transformation that's there. And now that that underlying platform is programmable, this allows us to bring together the next generation of experiences with augmented and virtual reality, which needs real-time network performance. We have AI and machine learning, which is actually getting built in, not only at applications and with data, but all the way down to the infrastructure and the fabric itself. Cloud computing requires networks to be connected in entirely new ways for your applications that are running across the world. And IoT, as more and more devices come on, there's different ways to do computing, which involves applications in the cloud, on devices, as well as in the network at the edge. So why should an app developer like you care about APIs in the network? There's 5 reasons in terms of categories of reasons, and I'm going to talk about some of those today. So one of them is for network performance. The other is the area of net DevOps. Net DevOps, it's a new term. Value-added services, security, and multi-cloud. So let's get started. So How many of you have been using apps on your mobile device while you've been here? And how many of you have suffered? How many are using it? Everybody, right? How many of you have suffered from poor connection? Has anyone had a poor connection while they're here? So why is that happening? What's going on? The applications are awesome. Actually, the network is awesome, but they're not talking to each other. So really, your application should be doing really well on that network. It's just that they haven't talked to each other. Now, we actually have technology that can help this. It's simple. Quality of service. But we have not instructed our applications to be using the QoS in the network, and the QoS in the network hasn't been deployed to really take care of your applications. So Cisco is partnering with Apple to actually make this better. So what we've done is work with them so that all of you iOS developers, you mobile developers, take your app, add a few lines of code into your app, specify the quality of service, specify which of your data is best effort traffic, specify which is real-time video traffic, which is real-time voice. Tell that in your app, add a few lines of code, and then what we can do is put it across the network in a way that's optimized. And if we take a look, what does this mean? This means for an iOS developer, you can go ahead, specify the traffic in your app. You can go to DevNet, developer.cisco.com/Apple, and you can get a fast lane validation for your app, for your mobile app. And then what that tells is for those who are giving solutions, that what you can do is take those applications and put them in the fast lane. If you're in a hospital and you're running the wireless system in the hospital, you have a set of applications of patient monitoring apps, right? Patient health monitoring apps. Those need to be in the fast lane. Your guest Wi-Fi services can be a little bit below. You want your patients to live. So this is the area where now what we're doing is offering people a way to prioritize different apps through a partnership with Apple and Cisco. Another reason, why do you need to care about network APIs? So everyone knows about DevOps. Everyone's familiar with DevOps, right? Now, what about the network? So with DevOps, we're used to moving our compute. We're used to continuous integration and deployment of our apps. So as soon as we write a new app, we can get it out there and deploy it. How many of you had an issue where you're working on your app, you're developing your cloud, you have everything done, you're doing it in staging, and then you push it to production, and it doesn't work anymore? Who's had that problem? Has anybody had that problem? And what do you usually blame? What's the first thing you blame? The network? It's tough to move these environments. With the use of having net DevOps, what we're doing is putting programmability into the network itself so that the network can be as flexible as the compute, so that you can continue to have your network environments work, your compute, your apps to work in this whole world. So if we take a look at what's happening in net DevOps, is we're actually adding in APIs to network devices, to network routers and so on. In addition, we're adding APIs that are network-wide, that allow you to set quality of service, that allow you to set and configure your parameters. And one thing that you can look at is in the AWS marketplace, you can actually take a look and you can actually buy a software router, a Cisco Cloud Services router, so that when you're writing your cloud apps and your cloud apps need a network and they need more than just basic network capabilities, they need more, then you can actually go ahead and get one of these software routers and use it and use the advanced network functionalities within your cloud applications. So this is how net DevOps can be used to help what you are doing today. In addition, in net DevOps, we have the area of edge computing and IoT. As you have more and more things coming onto the network, all of that data is coming through, and it needs to be processed at the edge. Well, the thing that we're doing is we're adding compute at the edge of the network where your apps can be written to basically help out and be hosted at the edge of the network. So there you can actually take that stream data, process it as quickly as it can, wait till you see a significant event, take that significant event, and go back and send it to the cloud. So what you can do is you have more places that you can program. You can program in the cloud, you can program on the device, but you can also program at the edge of the network. You can do this using Docker containers. You can actually just drop your code in new places in the network, and this is going to be very exciting for all of our developers. Okay, what else does the network do for app developers? We can look at the area of value-added services. We think about the network as providing connectivity, right? We provide the connection and the network connectivity for your apps, but it can do so much more. And if we take a look, let's think about Wi-Fi access points. So everybody thinks, yes, I buy a Wi-Fi access point, and when I buy a Wi-Fi access point, it's just so I can connect my apps and connect my devices. But actually, we have a number of Wi-Fi access points set up here. The Wi-Fi access point, everybody has a mobile device. Everybody has Wi-Fi on. You may or may not be connected to the network, but it's on. The access points know all of your MAC addresses, but it knows that you are all here because of your devices. It knows how many of you are here for the first time, or how many of you have been here for a while. It knows how long you're here. This is all information that the access points are collecting. And now what we're doing is we have APIs into those access points so that developers can write applications that use that information. So imagine now you can provide a lot of information also about the location about people using Wi-Fi and BLE. And so by doing that, developers can actually get more than just connectivity. They can get location for their applications. And then people are using this to not only provide services that provide connectivity, but customer loyalty apps. So imagine that you walk into a store, Panera, Starbucks, Subway, and what you can do is actually connect in, and you're not only offering a Wi-Fi connection, but you say, hello, you've been here before. Here's a discount for the next thing. So now all of a sudden, retailers can get information and customer information about you, build a relationship with you using this infrastructure. Okay, the next area, security. How many of you have to deal with security for your applications? It's tough, right? It's been the responsibility of app developers to provide security of their applications and provide security of their data. That's a lot of responsibility. And it's tough, given all of the attacks that are going on these days. What if the network can help you provide security for your application? Especially as we go to the world of IoT, mobile devices, the cloud, what happens is the surface area, the attack surface of your system increases with all of this. Of course, we love it because it's powerful, but suddenly your applications and systems can be attacked in more ways. Well, what we have is ways for the network to help provide security for your application and for your data. And let me give you an example with something that we call OpenDNS. So everybody uses DNS, but let's take a look at OpenDNS. With OpenDNS, what we have is we have a DNS service. All you have to do is go to your home router, go to your mobile devices, go to your computers, your laptops, your servers, and set for their DNS address to be our OpenDNS servers. When you do that, what happens is every DNS request that you make will go through our OpenDNS service. Why does that matter? Our OpenDNS service is actually collecting information about attacks, malware, bad URLs from around the world. Those are all coming into this cloud-managed security service that's basically looking for anything bad. When it finds something bad, it goes back out to the network devices and blocks those ports, blocks those bad traffic. With OpenDNS, we have 65 million users around the world using OpenDNS. We actually have 80 billion DNS requests per day coming through this. And what happens is it's able to redirect away. As soon as we find a problem, any other DNS, we block it. So it's a very interesting way that we're doing security to help make this world a better place and make your apps more secure. In addition to all of that data coming in, what we're doing with all of that data is we're applying machine learning algorithms to try to predict where the next attacks are going to be. In addition, we have a team of 250 security researchers. They are hackers, they're security experts, they're data scientists who are constantly looking at the data to find the bad stuff, and we feed that into these systems to then block the bad traffic and defend against those attacks from around the world. And then we have APIs into the system. So if you're developing a security system, you find a new app or you attack, you can actually send it up through an API so that it's also used within the system. And if you're trying to do research on the threats, we actually have another API that will let you get in and get information about the compromised sites so that you can do more work on this as well. Okay, so let's go on next. So the final area in which network APIs can help you all is through MultiCloud. So how many enterprise app developers do we have out there today? We have some enterprise application developers? How many cloud developers do we have out there today? Okay. Now, what happens is people are writing enterprise apps. People are writing cloud apps. These have often been separate worlds, right? So the people who are writing enterprise apps, you might think about how much information is in there. Companies have their customer databases. They have their employee databases. They have all their business transactions, so much information back in these enterprise applications. This data is stored back in data warehouses that are within the enterprise. There's a gold mine of information in there. When you're writing cloud apps, you have a tremendous amount of cloud services, cloud data to the world. You have an ease of use of all of this, of all the newest technologies. But the question is, how do we bring those two things together? You know, enterprises are afraid to take that data and put it up into the cloud. And in the cloud, it's hard to reach back in. You can't reach back in and get that data. But if these worlds come together, we have so much more that we can do. And this is where Cisco's formed a partnership with Google to come together on hybrid app development, where we're providing the network security fabric to connect the private cloud and the public cloud world so that you can move workloads between both of them, making the best of this combined environment. And you can actually go to developer.cisco.com/Google to bring these things together and to gain the skills that you need to work in this hybrid cloud and multi-cloud world. Okay, so I showed you 5 areas and 5 ways in which network APIs are important to app developers. We're excited about this new world, and my team and I are here. We would love to discuss with you how you view this, because I know this is very different from how we had thought about things in the past. Now, let me just go to close and talk about the evolution. So 50 years ago, my parents came from Korea to the United States. When they came to the United States, they were on an airplane. They got in an airplane. Their whole family met them to go because it was probably a chance that as soon as they got on that airplane, they will never come back to Korea again, or at least not for 10 or 20 years. So they went there. They rode on an airplane. Their only way to communicate back was to reserve time on Saturday at 5 p.m. to talk for 2 minutes because it was so expensive to talk, or to handwrite letters by airmail. That was the way that they could communicate. In our new world that we're talking about, this is my daughter at daycare yesterday. We can communicate like that. This is me FaceTiming with her last night. And this is my team as we were going from Web Summit, getting on the airplane, getting on the bus, and being here. This is the kind of communication we have, and it's just so different from before. And the question is, what will we do next? What will we do next together? And all of this involves the evolution of the network, the evolution of the ecosystem, and of the apps that you're writing. And so what I encourage you all is I want us to work together. You can go to bit.ly/devnetcm17 to learn more about all of the assets that we have, and I look forward to working with you all. But together we're going to create a great future together. Thank you.